Hi there, Richard the Dick Coughlin 616, and here this video today is going to be another one that I no doubt will attract the usual mob of people who say the usual sort of things directed at me, usually when I talk about someone who I'm pretty sure they believe to be the King Leonidas of justice and truth. His name is Geert Wilders. Geert Wilders is a very different case. Now, Geert Wilders is, of course, the man, the Dutch politician who is in charge of a group called the Awesome, Amazing, Freedom for Everyone in the World, We Love You, Great Alliance Party in Holland. Just to get a few things out of the way, because this is of no way, shape or form an argument, but I have always felt that he looks a little bit like a middle-aged version of Beavis. Or failing that, maybe the blonde guy Freddy from the Scooby-Doo cartoons. And Mr. Wilders is also well known for his opinions on Islam, which, funnily enough, I'll be covering. I do not believe that Geert Wilders should be on trial or should have been arrested or held in any legal sense for simply stating his opinion. I also do not believe that the film he made, Fitna was a 30-minute video about Islamic terrorism. I don't think that film should have been banned. Mainly the reason I don't think it should have been banned is simply for the fact that I thought it was completely unnecessary. And he made it simply for the fact of trying to show that, you know, Islamic terrorism is something that is sort of mentioned in the Quran, acts of terrorism. The thing was, this film was made in 2007, and to be honest, 2007, following the 9/11 attacks and the attacks in London and Madrid and a couple of the failed ones in all of those countries, I didn't need to know. I kind of worked it out using common sense that there might be passages in their holy book that sort of helped them come to terms with this on a theological basis. But that said, I do want to talk about certain things that, see, Mr. Wilders, as we all know, is in charge of the Bill and Ted's Excellent Freedom Party. Now, what I'm about to give you, this is Geert Wilders, and I'll leave links in the herpes bar so you can go check this out. Geert Wilders has laid out a 10-point plan to save the West. Yes, the West, because basically what you've got to understand about in day and age, nationalism is no longer popular. So what we've done is we've created this new version of it called directionalism, where basically instead of getting a hard-on over the piece of land we were born on, we've expanded it out to the entire part of the world. So, and apparently, because we all live in the West, that is apparently the best place in the world. Fuck the East, North and South, you know, bollocks to you, quite frankly. Point number one, stop cultural relativism. This is, of course, the idea that if you come from another country or another different culture, and you go to a new country, you are not obliged to shake off the beliefs and certain practices you had in that country, providing they fall within the confines of the law. Geert Wilders wants to stop this. He says that we need an article in our constitutions to lay out that we have a Judeo-Christian and / humanistic culture, because there's nothing more humane than telling a bunch of foreigners, no, fuck off, can't do that, can't do that. Interestingly, he only applies the prevention of cultural relativism. He only seems to apply it to Islam, which is interesting because I wonder if Hindus or Buddhists or, you know, Asian people would this be applied to them? I don't know. It would be interesting to hear Mr. Wilders whether he would have a problem with that. This is an interesting one. Number two, stop pretending that Islam is a religion. I'll say that again. Stop pretending that Islam is a religion. Islam is a totalitarian ideology because, of course, Christianity is all about, you know, you think, live and let live. Right? In other words, the right to religious freedoms that we have in these countries, the right to believe and practice how you will, providing you're not breaking the law or infringing on anyone else's rights, should not apply to Islam. I'm going to actually refute Mr. Wilders here with what's called a dictionary, something I'd like him to pick up. Look up the word religion, a set of beliefs concerning the cause, nature and purpose of the universe. especially when considered as the creation of a superhuman agency or agents, like, I don't know, a god, you know, usually involving devotional and ritual observances, praying, certain things, you know, annual things, Ramadan. Oh, by the way, all the people who are going on about Barack Obama having a Ramadan dinner in the White House, they've had those since the days of Thomas Jefferson, right? And often containing a moral code of governance concerning the conduct of human affairs. Now, I don't know about you, but I think, yeah, Islam tends to get totalitarian ideology. Of course, he doesn't seem to grasp the fact that a totalitarian ideology is not mutually exclusive from a religion. Religions tend to be ideologies, and most of them tend to promote the idea of, you know, propagating themselves. But you know, that's just me. What do I know? I'm a wishy-washy liberal. So yeah, so if you're a Muslim, you won't have any religious freedoms because obviously, you know, they need to stop your totalitarian regime by, you know, by creating our own totalitarian regime based on Christianity and Judaism and humanism. So yeah, that makes sense. Number 3, stop mass immigration by people from Muslim countries. Muslim countries. Now, does that mean if you live in a country that's predominantly Muslim, but you're not a Muslim yourself, you can't come here, even though you might be someone who's seeking to escape the evil clutches of the Muslim theocracy you live in? Or what about a Muslim who lives in a non-Muslim country? He also says we have to end al-Hijra. Al-Hijra is the Islamic New Year, and so we have to end the Islamic New Year. This is a good one. Number 4, encourage voluntary repatriation. Voluntary repatriation. Who was that other party who had... Oh yeah, it was the BNP. Yeah, and I love this. Encourage. What this basically means is going up to foreigners and going, hey, did you know that if you wanted to, at any point, you're more than welcome to fuck off. Just saying. I'm just saying. No pressure. No pressure. Number 5. This is an interesting one. Expel criminal foreigners and criminals with dual nationality after denationalisation. Now, I don't know if this means that you can have your main nationality, if you're dual nationality because you were born in, say, a Western country, but you have one for another country, whether you would just be, you know, you would be denationalised from the one that's more convenient for them. But this is the interesting bit. It says, and send them back to their Arab countries. Criminal foreigners and criminals with dual nationality and sent... So it wouldn't actually be foreigners, it would just be Arabic foreigners, or foreigners who are of Arab descent. Expel all those who incite a violent jihad, as opposed to the other kind of jihad. What if they invoke a lovely jihad? Number 6, we need, this is beautiful, we need a European First Amendment to strengthen free speech. And of course, strengthening free speech in Geert Wilders' eyes is to weaken the freedom of speech for those who you're quite worried might say something you don't like. Number 7, have every member of a non-Western minority, he doesn't specify whether they're born there or not, sign a legally binding contract of assimilation. Yes, sign a contract when you come here saying you will be assimilated into the Borg. Again, what assimilation means, I don't know. Will they be allowed to, you know, do they not have to, are they not allowed to wear certain clothes? Are they not allowed to say certain things? Are they banned from, you know, it doesn't say what assimilation is. But I've got a good idea of what it might include. 8, we need a binding pledge of allegiance to all Western countries. Now, I'm sorry. Now, I don't know whether this just applies to foreign, but from my perspective, a pledge of allegiance to your country, I know America has one, and that's part of their, I personally don't, fuck a pledge of allegiance, right? I'm gonna go with what I feel is right. I'm certainly not one to all Western countries, right? Oh yes, I pledge allegiance to the West. One direction, under any god apart from that fucking bearded one over. Fuck you! You know, I hate to break this to you, but the West, this hard on people. The West is not exempt from fucking blame in all of the world's wrongdoing. I'm not saying we're the cause for everything, right? But people always worry about the threats to the West. Maybe sometimes you should consider, how is the West seen as a threat to other people? I'm just saying, just putting that out there. Number 9, stop building new mosques. Right, here's one. as long as no churches or synagogues are allowed to be built in countries like Saudi Arabia. So Mr. Wilders' way of trying to show how much more enlightened and how better we are than the theocratic fucking fascist bigots of certain Middle Eastern countries is to basically say, well, you're not doing it and neither are we. Miss, how fucking childish is this? Swivel on that one, fucking Aladdin. He's also for the closing of all Islamic schools. I personally think that should extend to faith schools. But then Mr. Wilders is what you would call a selective atheist. And number 10, get rid of the current weak leaders. And who should we install, Mr. Wilders? You? Why, I never thought of that. We have the privilege of living in a democracy. Let's use that privilege and exchange cowards for heroes. Yes, Mr. Wilders, we do have the privilege of living in a democracy, and according to the dictionary, a democracy is designed as a government by the people. And let me tell you this, I am one of the people, and I think your ideas of strengthening peace and freedom would be lovely for me. You know, I'm not a Muslim, but you know what? I'd feel a bit guilty. I'd kind of feel like a hypocrite. I understand, Mr. Wilders, that you are petrified. Your blonde hair, your blue eyes, your white pure skin. I know that. But you know what? You don't stop and destroy fascism and totalitarianism by becoming a fascist totalitarianistic government. You don't do it that way because you've just let it win. Freedom of speech, freedom of expression, freedom of belief, freedom to practice and express yourself applies to everyone, not just you. And how on earth are we going to fucking make these backward, barbaric, cave-dwelling, bearded sand monkeys who worship their paedophilic fucking overlords, how are we ever going to get them to join us here? Because, you know, whilst you're sitting there wanking over the West, do you know what? I'd like the West and the values and the freedoms that we enjoy in this, I'd like them to be extended to all countries, not just exclusive to us, so we can think that we're better than everyone else. Fuck you, Geert Wilders. Richard the Dick Coughlin, 616. Good night. May God be less. Yaki da.